let's get right into it. Um, why do so many of us feel like we can't ask for help?
If you're vulnerable, that's a weakness, and you can't show that.
Instead of thinking I'm bothering someone, shift to something like people actually want to help. And it's like reaching out to family members for help and support when you're thinking that you're a bother. But they want to help, you know what I mean? So people wanting to it and they're just waiting for you to open up. They just don't know what, like what you are going through. People can't read your mind.
To be ashamed of. I used to always take my emotions and just bottle it inside and not let anyone see what I was going through with my emotions, what was happening in my family life, in my personal life. Just growing up, I used to think it was something that you can't really get to that deeper level connection. That's something I learned the hard way.
Or can we change that? Welcome back to another episode of The Time Is Now.
We're going to be sharing some personal stories, so make sure you stick around for that, and we're so glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think we can all relate to, something that happens to everyone.
So today's episode, it's all about why. So why we struggle to ask for help, especially when we need it the most, right? Like we are going to dive into the fears and the anxieties that holds us back. And for me, I know it's this fear of being seen as a burden, or worse, hearing it thrown back in my face later. And we kind of touched on that last episode.
Yeah.
And we got a few traction from that. So people were feeling that. So we decided let's continue with this episode basically.
Well, and I think it's something that we can all relate to. I think we try and convince ourselves that it makes us look weak when you need to ask for help, when really it's the exact opposite of that.
I mean, that's so true. Like society has this, it's trained us, right? It trained us to believe that independence is strength.
Yeah.
So, but the reality is that human beings are weird. And for connections and support, we need it.
Yep.
Yet we avoid it because we fear the judgment or worse, the rejections. But
no, and it's so true, and that fear can hold us back. It can hold us back from our career, like progressing through our career, from relationships, or anything in life. And it's the thing is that we really can't. You can't really do anything alone.
No, you really can't, guys. Like it's just how we're trained, right? Like we're trained not to ask for help, keep it in, deal with it on your own, and figure it out. And especially as a male, I can say that we've been trained differently. I think we've trained differently, male and female, right? Like in terms of figuring it out as a man, figure life out, be the protector for your family and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a weird kind of mindset.
Well, and you're taught to make you think it looks weak.
Yeah.
To ask for help and to talk about how you're feeling and everything like that. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and it kind of goes into that personal story that you were sharing last week, and I think it would be so powerful for you to talk about it again and just reshare it.
I mean, I want to share something really, really personal with you guys. You know what I mean? Because I think it might help someone out there. Someone out there who's struggling. So, who's feeling the same way that I have felt in the past, or I feel every now and then, occasionally. You know what I mean? For the longest time, I had this somewhat toxic trait where I just couldn't bring myself to ask for help. And When I say I couldn't, I mean I absolutely would not. You know, I felt like if I asked for help, it would either make me seem weak or people would hold it against me later on. Um, I'd be stuck on things like maybe big things like paying bills or managing responsibilities. And instead of reaching out, I would struggle in silence. First part I think though with that is I would make myself believe that it was better that way, that nobody wanted to hear my problems anyway, you know. It was easier to suffer than to feel like a burden to someone else. So I learned that lesson, you know. It started to break me down. I was bottling up everything: stress, anxiety, frustration, and you know what happened?
Yeah.
It took a toll on me, a real hard toll on me. Emotionally and mentally, I hit rock bottom. I remember this one moment feeling completely overwhelmed with everything, and I was just thinking, why am I doing this to myself?
Well,
Why am I so afraid to reach out?
and I think that's so powerful, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. You're really
Mm.
not alone in that.
Yeah, and you know what? Eventually I had a choice. I had to start asking for help, even though it feels so uncomfortable. It's not comfortable asking for help, you know. At first, it wasn't easy, and every part of me wanted to resist it,
Mhm.
you know. But I had to push past fears because I realized keeping everything inside wasn't working. And you know what? When I did start reaching out, people were actually more supportive than I thought. That really opened my eyes up a bit.
Well, exactly. I mean, we're not meant to do everything alone.
Mm,
No one
mm,
is. And asking for help, it really is a strength. It's something that you have to try and grow on,
yeah,
and continue to practice. It's not something that comes easily to anyone, I don't think. But I think when you can have that strength to overcome that, that self-doubt that's inside of you,
yeah,
and you have to ask for help, that fear of rejection or failure, I think kind of ties in with that. And when you do, then it really does show yourself as a strength and not a weakness.
definitely. And so let's get into some real talk. How do we overcome this fear of asking for help?
Mhm.
I'll go first. One thing I've learned is that it helps to refrain your mindset. Instead of thinking I'm bothering someone, you know, shift to something like people actually want to help. It's like reaching out to family members for help and support, and you're thinking that you're going to
Mhm.
be a bother. But
Mhm.
they want to help, you know what I mean? So people want into it, and they're just waiting for you to open up.
Yep.
They just don't know like, what you are going through. People can't read your mind.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I
Mm,
know for me personally, growing up, I used to think that vulnerability was something to be ashamed of.
mm,
I used to always take my emotions and just bottle it inside and not let anyone see what I was going through with
mm-hmm,
my emotions, what was happening in my family life and my personal life.
mm-hmm.
Just growing up, I used to think it was something that you can't, if you're vulnerable, that's a weakness and you can't show that. And it was something I had to work on and learn from. And honestly, now I think it's one of the most courageous things that you can do,
Absolutely.
you know? And I think too, when you allow yourself to open up to others, and this
Mm-hmm,
is something I learned the hard way, is that is when you can connect with someone on a deeper level.
mm-hmm,
And unless, like, if you don't choose to do that, then you'll never really get to that deeper level connection that you
mm-hmm,
may want with
mm-hmm,
someone, and whether that's a friend or a family member
mm-hmm.
or a partner.
I mean, another key is starting with small ask. You don't have to ask for the world right away. Maybe start with something simple and gradual.
Hmm.
You'll get more comfortable. It's like building muscles. Going to the gym and you're
Yeah.
building muscles. You don't start lifting 200 pounds on day one.
No, exactly. And I think too, you need that self-compassion,
Yep.
because you have to give yourself grace and have that compassion for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, and it's so cliche, but it's so true. It's cliche for a reason,
Yep.
that we are your own biggest critic.
Yep.
You will be the one that will be the harshest on yourself and
Mm-hmm.
judge yourself the
So true.
hardest. And so you need to have that self-compassion, because otherwise, if you're not able to give yourself that, then
Mm-hmm.
you'll never be able to ask for help, and you'll never be helped, and then that's when you can feel stuck. That's when you can feel lonely and you don't know where to go next.
I mean, breaking through that fear sums it up.
Yeah.
And one more tip: surround yourself with the right people. When you have strong support system, asking for help becomes easier. And we speak about this, I think, in almost all of our episodes so
Yeah.
far. Support system is vital. We can't stress more on that. Surround yourself around some kind of support system. You know, Asking for help becomes easier. Build a circle of people who uplifts you. And don't be afraid to lean on them when needed.
Yeah. I think that's so key. Yeah. um Now we want to hear from you guys.
Yep.
Let us know what is, a struggle a time where you struggle to ask for help, and what did you do to overcome that?
I mean, drop your stories in the comments below. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I tell them every week. Subscribe, drop the comments below. Let's continue with this
Yeah.
conversation. You know what I mean? What's one time you struggled and how have you overcome those struggles? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or did you ask for help? Did you receive that help? Who was your support system
Yeah.
at that time? You know what I mean? And I mean, how did you overcome this? Tell us. We want to know.
Hmm.
We want to know if you're still finding it difficult
Yep.
to ask for help, to reach out and ask for support. And I'm not talking about people that are just trying to, maybe leave that for another episode. Because you got people out there as well. People will ask for help that don't really need to ask for help. Like there are people out there that needs to get up and just figure it out.
Well, it's a balance.
So yeah, there's a balance too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like I want you to be calling my phone at 1 o'clock in the morning to tell me that, hey, I'm out partying tonight, I'm drunk. But it's not just tonight that you call me. It's every single night for the past 8 months.
Mhm.
You know, and you're dealing with something, and I'm trying to reach out to you to give that support, but it's not working. At some point, you have to start receiving these kind of help and really receiving it.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. It's one thing to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be ready to receive it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And if you're not ready to hear that, then you need some work that you still need to do, and you need to really find the root cause of it, because otherwise you won't be able to grow and move forward. You will just be stuck in that one place, and then you're going to be stuck wondering why.
mm-hmm.
I'd be like, hey, I'm asking for help. Why am I not getting better? I'm doing all the steps I think I should be doing, when you're not really addressing whatever that underlying cause
Yeah,
is.
yeah. But with that said, guys, beautiful episode today. I think that's it for today's episode of Therapy Time is No. And remember, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yep.
One of the bravest thing you can actually do is ask for help and
Yep.
receiving that help.
Yeah, and don't let the fear of judgment hold you back. It's something that um, we all need to work on and move towards.
Mm. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in today with another episode of Therapy Time is No. And I hope someone received this today.
Yeah.
I hope someone heard us today. And if you need help, reach out to someone in your support system or something within your
And
support system.
ask questions. It can start by just asking the questions, trying to figure out where you need to go from there, addressing the underlying cause,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what the next steps are. You don't need to take a huge leap in your next steps. See baby steps, because
Exactly.
sometimes that's the best way to move forward.
Yeah. So with that says, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe this week. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to like our video, and just spread the conversation, spread the love, and hit that button right now.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here.
So I hope someone heard us. Whatever time you're at, whatever time zone. If it's nighttime, I hope it helps you to see good tonight. And if it's morning time, I hope it brightens your day as you're going into work, wherever you're going right now, or if you're just home, just chilling, feeling a bit down, feeling a bit anxious. I hope this easing a little bit of your burden, just knowing that there might be a few persons that you can reach out to, and reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out. So thank you guys again. Thank you for joining us in an episode after every time is now. See you next time.
King Rush. Oh, them say them a chop. And a low Hennessy man a sip on table. Them boy didn't believe in a real estate. The money man a pray.
Send the money.
Send the money now.
Send the money.
Midnight grave and we can't stop. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. What the fuck you doing? Send the money to me cash. Midnight grave and we can't stop. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. What the fuck you? Send the money to me cash.